Algebra Unit 3, Lesson 6, Note 6, Writing Equations in Point-Slope Form. An equation of a line can be written in point-slope form when given the coordinates of one known point on a line and the slope of that line. So our linear equation here, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, is written in point-slope form, where x1 and y1 is a given point on a non-vertical line. So for example, this could be the x1, y1 point, and m represents the slope of the line. So again, here is point-slope form. So we basically need to plug in a point, x1, y1, and the slope, and then we have point-slope form. Write an equation in point-slope form for the line that passes through the given point with the given slope. Then graph the equation. Letter A, we have the point 3, -2 and a slope of 1/4. So our 3, -2 is going to be our point, x1, y1. And our slope is 1/4, which is represented by m. Our point-slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Plug in what we know. We know that our y1 is -2, our slope is 1/4, and our x1 is 3. So we have y minus -2 equals our slope of 1/4 times x minus 3. And then what I like to say is make it pretty. When you have double negatives, get rid of them. Double negatives are positive. So instead of y minus -2, I'll have y plus 2. And the rest looks fine. So I will leave it as such. So this is our point-slope form, which helps us identify the point, a point on a line, and the slope of that line. Now let's go ahead and plot it. The first thing we need to do is graph the point, 3, -2. I know that's on the line. So at 3, -2, put a point. Make mine a little bigger. So at 3, -2, there's my point. Remember with slope, our direction here, it's 1/4. That means I go up 1 and right 4. So from the point that's given to you, since we don't know where the y-intercept is, we are going to go up 1, right 4. So up 1, right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our point will be right here. I like to always plot at least 3 points, and since I can't go any further up and right, I'm going to do the opposite and go down and left. So down 1, left 4 would put me there. You can do more points if you prefer, but once you have 3 or 4, that's a good start. So from there, use a ruler and draw a straight line. My ruler's lined up. I'm going to draw a line all the way through the graph and put arrows on both sides. Again, it's a good idea to label your graph. I'm going to label it with my equation in point-slope form. So y plus 2 equals 1/4 times x minus 3. Let's go ahead and skip to letter D. Now letter D is interesting. It actually tells us I have a point of -6, 0, so x1, y1. However, the slope is undefined. If you remember back to previous lessons, if we have an undefined slope, that means it's a vertical line, and it cannot be written in point-slope form. So a vertical line, let's plot this point, -6, 0, which is right here. Let me do a little bit bigger of a point. -6, 0. I know it's a vertical line. I know that that's a point on the graph. So therefore, my vertical line is here at this point. So go ahead and draw in a vertical line. If you have to put a couple extra points in there, go ahead, but use a ruler and draw it in. Now the equation of this line is x equals -6. It's a vertical line, so I know it's x equals, and I know my x value is -6, and it also goes through that, that point, -6, 0. Now remember, if slopes are undefined, they're vertical. If slopes are 0, like in letter C, it's horizontal. You can write a linear equation in point slope, slope intercept, or standard form. Write each equation in both slope intercept and standard form. So here we're given the point slope form. We need to write it in both slope intercept and standard form. I prefer to start with slope intercept and then go to standard form, but you can do whichever method you choose. In order to do slope intercept form, I need to take care of these parentheses by distributing. So y minus 1 equals -2/3 x plus -2/3 times -5 is +10/3. Go ahead and leave it as improper fractions or fractions. I need to get y by itself, so I will add 1 to both sides. And I have y equals -2/3 x plus 10/3 plus 1 is 13/3. That is slope-intercept form. Now, standard form, there are a couple things we have to remember about standard form. I'll jot these down over here. Standard form can have no fractions. They have to be in the form of ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers. However, a must be positive. So let's go back, keeping those in mind. Well, I can't have fractions, so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the fractions. If you notice, my fractions both have a denominator of 3. So to get rid of that denominator of 3, I'm actually going to just multiply everything by 3. So I'm going to multiply this whole equation by 3. So really you're distributing that 3. 3 times y is 3y equals -2/3 x times 3 becomes -2x. And 13/3 times 3 becomes 13. So we got rid of our fractions. Next thing we need to do is we need to bring our x and y term together. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2x to both sides to bring it with the y. And put my x term first. So we have 2x plus 3y equals 13. So I have no fractions. I'm in the form ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers. A specifically also has to be positive, which it is. Therefore, this is standard form. Let's take a look at c. Y plus 2 equals 1/6 times x minus 4. I'm going to go ahead and distribute that 1/6. Y plus 2 equals 1/6x minus 1/6 times 4 is 4/6, which reduces to 2/3. You could leave it as 4/6, or you can reduce it. Doesn't matter. Next thing we need to do is get y by itself. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Y equals 1/6x. And now -2/3 minus 2 is -8/3. So here is our slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b. Okay, now to go to standard form. Again, we need to make sure there are no fractions. I like to take care of that first. Only we have a 6 and a 3 as our denominator. They're different. So what we can do, we can actually multiply the whole equation by the least common denominator of 1/6 and -8/3. So really, if I want the LCD, least common denominator, of 6 and 3. And remember, least common denominator is the same as least common multiple, just specifically for denominators of fractions. So I know that the least common denominator is 6 because they both go into 6. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 6. Distribute that 6. 6 times y is 6y equals 6 times 1/6 x is x. And 6 times -8/3 actually becomes -16. So I got rid of the fractions. The next step, I need to bring my x over with the y. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Again, putting the x term first. -x plus 6y equals -16. Okay, got rid of fractions, have x and y together. However, my a term, which is a -1, it's negative. I need it to be positive. That is the third requirement for standard form. So to make this positive, I'm actually going to divide the entire equation by -1. What happens is every sign flips. So the -1x becomes a positive 1x, plus 6y becomes -6y equals, and -16 becomes positive 16. And that is standard form. Go ahead and finish the rest of the problems.